Hey, good evening, everybody. Just give me a few moments while I go on to Facebook on my phone and just make sure that I can see any notes. Oh no, I don't. Yeah, see any notes. You will see that it is just me tonight. I know I did like encourage you and say that Jay was going to be joining. It's his birthday and come and share the love. Unfortunately, he didn't realise, but his good lady wife Katrina had organised a surprise for him. So obviously he chose Katrina over us. So I can understand that. But anyway, before we get going, Jay, when you're watching, hopefully you're watching the replay. I just got a little surprise for you, my friend. Well, there you go, Jay. I know you couldn't be here. I was going to sing it myself, but I thought, hey, guess what? Let me find something, and that will be much better for you. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Happy birthday, my friend. I meant what I said earlier. You are like a brother to me, and I put in there. I think you're a brother from a different mother and father. All right, but hey, you're still a brother. So good news. All right. So if you are watching live, as it says down here, just say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. If you have any questions, any comments, then use the comments box below. I will get a notification of those. If you've got any questions or anything based on what I'm saying, then definitely put that in there. You know, my purpose is to add value to you, and obviously that's what Jay and I do every week. And as we say, you know, we facilitate. If you participate, then together we all elevate. All right. So, excuse me. Hopefully you will do that, and it will be good to see you here. And again, if not, it will just be me talking for like 15-20 minutes. I probably won't go the 35-40 minutes that Jay and I normally do because I've got another call at 8:30. But listen, don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me on my own. And if you do, then hopefully you'll just learn from what I'm saying anyway. So, all right. So what I wanted to talk about tonight was how are you influencing others during this time? All right, and I hesitate to call it a crisis. Probably it is, but let's say this uncertain time. All right, I want to try and switch your mindset from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset. Hey Glenn, thanks for joining. Good to see you here, buddy. So let's try and switch from a scarcity to abundance mindset. And what does that mean? Well, it's basically talking about perspectives, right? And how we view things is how we will do things. But before I go into that, there's a quote that's in my book, 10 Steps of Freedom, and I bookend the book with a quote at the start and the quote at the end. And I want to bring that to you again because I think it's relevant. And what the quote says is, are you happy living under the average limitations imposed on you by other people? Or are you ready to rise to the greater expectations of your inner self? Now, you may look at that and say, well, hey, you know, the limitations that are on me are all around. Well, yes, they are. All right. However, it doesn't mean that that has to stop you. All right. It just means that the normal way of doing things, your comfort zone, so as to speak, needs to change. All right. What got us to where we are will not get us to where we want to be. Right? We need to change the way we do things. We need to change our thinking, and the you know we I want to help us to turn adversity into an advantage. Right? So we're all going through adversity, but there are some that are making it an advantage, and there's some that are just drowning under the adversity and frankly feeling sorry for themselves. Right now, here's some great things. I mean, a lot of people, I believe, around 80 million people got their stimulus checks either this today or they're going to get them this week. That's $1,200 that people weren't expecting. Right? Well, they were expecting once it was announced, but before this uncertainty, time of uncertainty, they weren't expecting to get $1,200. So if that's a family or a couple, they got $2,400. That's good. You know, a lot of people that are going on to furlough, like myself, I got onto furlough on Saturday, so we can claim unemployment and we get the $600 like furlough payment. So actually, a lot of people that are on furloughs are going to be equally, if not better off than they were when they're working. So let's think about the abundance side of it and not the scarcity side of it. And again, Glenn, I know Glenn's watching. There's 3 or 4 others of you on there. Just say hi and let me know where you're watching from. Join in the conversation, because it's not about me just talking to you. Um, it will be, unless you put any comments in there and any questions. But I'd rather you participate, and then you participate, and we will all elevate together. So feel free to pop some comments in there. I'll get a notification of them, and I'll acknowledge it and answer it and do the best I can um, to answer your questions, and just share your points of view. All right, share your points of view. It's not all about me, it's about you. So as I said, one of the key points of turning adversity into advantage is perspective. And here's the thing I know is as a leader, and remember we've talked about this before, that whether you are a leader in your title or not, you are a leader because you influence others. And as the title of this page is leading through influence, right? So if you influence others, that means that other people will follow you. And by proxy, if other people are following you, what does that mean? Well, that means that you're a leader. All right. So how are you leading during this time of uncertainty? People do what people see. All right. So whether you are actually intentionally influencing others, you are influencing them by your actions. All right. So are you aware of what your actions are? Are you aware of how other people are perceiving you? How are you intentionally influencing people in this time? All right, those of you who are parents or grandparents, I know that's many of you. How are you influencing your children during this time? Your children are off school. All right, well, they're probably doing virtual school, right? So they're at home. Many of us have been working at home. Now, this is putting strains on relationships. It's putting strains on families, because we're not used to being together as much, right? And in that confined space. Now, from my perspective, I live alone. I've got a lodger, but other than that, it's just me and the dog and the 2 cats. So I've got the other side of it, right, where I could get the loneliness and the boredom. But what I do is I keep busy. I keep active. I'm running almost every day. In fact, today I clocked the 51 miles for the month of April. So in 15 days, I've run 51 miles. That's an average of a 5K every day, or a little over a 5K every day. So what are you doing? And how are you influencing your kids so that they're not sitting on their Game Boys or their PlayStations or whatever it is they do now, right? They're getting off the screen and they're actually doing something, maybe as a family. Maybe you're learning things together. There's plenty of online courses. There's plenty of things that are being offered for free. I'm doing things, Jay's doing things, and there's other things there as well. So what are you doing to actually engage the mind? Right? Keep activating that mind. The mind and the brain and everything is a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it will get. So what are you doing with that? All right, think about this. Is like how do you see others acting and behaving in this time, and what does that tell you about them? Glenn, let's have a look. Spending time on different groups by sharing things, learning and applying it this time. I'm also encouraging people through their posts. I'm spending more time engaging those who are on social media platforms, sharing things with your wife as well. That's perfect, Glenn. All right, that's perfect. That's exactly what it's exactly what I would encourage everybody to do. Because normally there's three things that people say when I talk to them about what are you doing to grow yourself, what are you doing to better yourself, right? And this is all about being better every day. It's not about being the best, it's about being better every day. The number one excuse people normally say is I haven't got the time, right? Number two, they normally say I can't afford it, it's expensive. And number three, they would say, well, I just don't know where to start. Well, here's the thing. All 3 of those excuses are out of the window at the moment, because most people have got more time. In fact, we've got more time than most of us have got more time than we know what to do with. So actually what ends up doing is that we spend more time in the refrigerator and the pantry and sitting on the couch, binge watching Netflix and so on, than we do more intentional things. Now, if you're watching this tonight, that's probably not you, because that's why you're watching this, right? But there's many, many, many people that are. Right, so we've got the time. The money, well, there are a lot of free, or let's call it complimentary, because it's not entirely free because you have to give your time, right? Like you're giving your time to be with me tonight, right? So that it's not all free, but there's complimentary programs, right? But there's also some low cost programs, and sometimes you have to invest in yourself to grow, right? And that's investing time, and it's investing a little bit of time and money as well. Now, I'm not suggesting you go out and buy all of these expensive courses because, quite frankly, you don't need those. But you do need something that's going to help you grow. One of the things you look at is any successful sportsman, any successful business person, any successful entertainer, they've got one thing in common. They all have a coach, right? They all have a mentor, somebody who helps guide them through. All right, Glenn says, true, start where you are. Everyone has a special story or message to share. Exactly. Right, exactly. Now is the time to step up. Now is the time to rise to that greater expectations of your inner self. Now is the time to move away from that comfort zone and start stretching yourself and starting to be the person you want to become. Because here's the thing, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And with perspective, the thing about perspective, I'll go back to the Henry Ford quote that I've used for years, and it's still on my Disney Instant Messenger, it's still the tagline on there. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're usually right. That's perspective. And how we view things is how we do things. So if we don't believe something is possible, if we believe that it's unlikely to happen, then guess what? That's what's going to be the truth, the reality. However, if we rise to that and we say, no, like as Eminem said, will the real Slim Shady still please stand up? Well, it's time for you to stand up. Right? It's time for me to stand up. It's time to stop playing safe and being in the shadows. It's time to rise to that greater expectations of your inner self. And if we do so, we will succeed. And what is success? Well, success is fulfillment. To me, anyway. Success is fulfillment. And for me, that's adding value to other people. That's helping other people be the people they want to be better every day, to fulfill their dreams, to live their dreams. That's what I live for. And I know Jay's the same. That's why we've been doing this show for like pretty much 2 years now. I think next month it'll be 2 years. Glenn, crisis moves us forward or it moves us backward. Perspective is key to which one we live in. Absolutely. Because here's the thing. We won't go back to where we were. We won't go back to where we were. As Glenn says, we'll either move forward or we'll go backwards. And when opportunities reappear, and they will reappear, at that time it's too late to prepare. What we need to do is prepare today. Right? Because the only day that you can actually make a difference, truly make a difference, is today. Yesterday is gone. So you can't do anything about it yesterday. So people that dwell on the past, guess what? It's gone. Let it go. Right? Do an Elsa, as I say, let it go. And I'm not going to sing that. Tomorrow, you can't make a difference tomorrow. You can influence it. But how do you influence tomorrow? Or next week, next month, next year? How do you influence that? By doing something today. Right? Today is the only day that you can truly make a difference. Today is called the present, and it's called the present for a reason. It's because it's a gift, right? You have the gift of today, right? It's your responsibility to make today count, to make a difference. But how are you going to do that? Well, you need to know why you exist in the first place, right? You need to have the right perspective about what's going on and what you can do. And here's the thing, there are two things that you can do, right? There's things you can't control and there's things you can control. When people are stressed, it's because they're spending too much time worrying about the things they can't control. Or they think about the things they can control, but they don't actually do anything about it. Now, people often ask me why I don't stress. And it's true, I don't stress. The reason I don't stress is because if there's things that I can't control, then I can't control it. I don't worry about it. Because worrying about it is not going to make any difference to the situation. The only thing it's going to do is going to mess me up here. It's going to put me into a scarcity mindset. And then what's going to happen, as Glenn said, it's going to move me backwards, because I'm going to give in to that. I'm going to stop trying. I can't afford to let that happen. So what can I do? Well, I can focus on the things I can control. I need to prioritize those. I need to schedule those. I need to align my thinking and my decisions with my purpose and my vision. Opens up a whole new can of words, because do you know your purpose? Can you clearly define your values? And when I say your values, and again, this is involved in a whole other teaching and trying to do as much as I can in a short time today, but just want to give you some nuggets there, some Goff Gold, as Jay calls it, but today it's obviously not there, so let's call Baker bonuses, right? Are you aware of your purpose? Are you aware of your why? Do you know what your values are? And values are those things that you will not compromise under any circumstances. You should have maybe 3 to 5, and that's it. But you should know them. You should live by them. And all of your decisions should be based on your values. Right? Do they solidify your values, or do they go against your values? If they go against your values, then guess what? It's not the right decision to make. Right? What's the other option? There's always an answer. Glenn, read recently that 98% of everything we worry about is out of our control. That's correct. Leaves 2% that we can. Once you define what you can control, that brings freedom. Absolutely, Glenn. It's like you've been in my head and been in some of the classes I've been teaching. I know you haven't, other than watching this show, as you're a regular viewer to this show. So I thank you for that. There's other people watching, and what I'd ask you is, again, participate. Let me know what you think, because otherwise it's just me talking and Glenn's interacting, but I don't know what the others of you are thinking. I don't know who you are. So say who you are. Let me know where you're watching from. Click the thumbs up, the heart, the wow, or if you don't agree with what I'm saying, let me know you don't agree with what I'm saying. But if that's the case, tell me why. Tell me why you don't agree. But interact, participate. All right, I've got probably about 5 minutes or so that I'm going to stay on, and then I need to get off. So again, don't delay. If you've got something to say it. All right, don't be shy. There's no crying in leading through influence. No crying at all. So once we know our values, once we know our purpose, once we know the vision of where we want to get to, how do we get there? All right, well, most of us are conditioned to think about results. All right, that's the life we sort of live in. It's what Simon Sinek in his Infinite Game calls the finite game. Right, we're looking for those immediate results. We're looking for the here and now. I mean, we live in what I term as a microwave society, right? Where everybody wants something, they want it now. All right. It's interesting in this current situation that's changing a little bit, right? Because those deliveries are taking a little bit longer. Although we still want takeouts, right? And takeouts are doing delivery or curbside pickup. So, that's still there. But in terms of things from Amazon or Chewy.com or any of those things, we're accepting slightly longer delivery times. To me, that's a good thing, because that microwave society where we want everything now and we expect it now is bad. But that's how we live, because we're focusing on results. Now, the abundance mindset and the mindset I want you to adopt and to move away from that is, let's strip it right back, right? Because results are, as they say, they're the result. Right? And before the results comes the actions. And I call it actions, but also habits, right? Because once we do an action and we repeat it over and over and over, it becomes a habit. Before that is the behaviors. Right? So what behaviors are you displaying every day? These are the intentional behaviors. These are the things that you need to control. These are the things you need to focus on, because this is what you can control. This is that 2% of things, right? So what are we doing every day? Now, here's the thing. If we don't intentionally create behaviors that are going to take us toward our vision, what happens is those behaviors are the bad behaviors. What happens then is we create bad habits, because the actions we're doing are not good. And then when we're creating bad habits, guess what? The results are not going to be what we want them to be. And then we go, man, I knew I was never going to do that. Look, whenever I try, it doesn't work. Wrong. The mindset's wrong, right? You're not focusing on the right things. So let's take it back to the behaviors. Align the behaviors and the thinking and the decision making with what you want to achieve, and more importantly, why you want to achieve it. Then your behaviors will be intentional. When your behaviors are intentional, you create good habits through your actions, and then you repeat those. It becomes second nature, and then guess what? Your results are exponentially higher. What happens then is you use the reset model that I've talked about briefly before, and that's where you review. You review what's happened, and you can do this every day. Right? You can do it once a week, you can do it once a month, but I suggest you start doing it, and then you keep doing it, and you get in the habit of doing it. As Glenn says, yeah, try again with a different approach. So reset is you review what's happened, good and bad, and then you evaluate it. Right? Why did it happen? Right? What went well? What didn't go so well? What happened to make it go well or not go so well? And then what you do is you strategize. So you got R for review, E for evaluate, S for strategize. Right? And the strategize is, well, what are you going to do about it? Right? What's your plan? And then the E is to execute the plan, because a plan that's not executed is actually a waste of time. Right? So you've got to execute it. And then the T is for today. I'm going to do it today. Right? Don't procrastinate, because procrastination is the killer of dreams. So once you've set your strategy, but based on your review and your evaluation, you're going to execute it, and you're going to do it now. Right? As Jay often says, when is now the right time to start? Now. The other T that you could apply to this as well is trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your thought process, trust in what you want to do. And guess what? You'll make it happen. But as Glenn says, if it doesn't, we'll try again with a different approach. And how we do that is we reset. So we review, we evaluate, we strategize, and then we execute today. And then we keep going. And guess what? That will become a habit. Now, some people will tell you it takes 21 days to form a habit. It actually takes around 66 days on average to form a habit. So when you think about the situation we're in now, many of us have got that time. So let's form a habit. You know, one challenge I would set for you is what keystone habit can you create in the next 2 to 3 weeks? All right. Now, again, a keystone habit could be something small, and something small you can form that in say 21 days. All right. But once you do that and you can see that it works, then you can start working on other habits and other behaviors. All right. And I would challenge you then to think back from the habit, like what is the behavior that you need to do to create that habit? So think about a habit could be, you know, I want to exercise every day. All right, that's a keystone habit that you want to create. Okay, so when are you going to do it? Well, okay, well, I want to do it first thing in the morning, because then I know it's done and it's out of the way. So I want to do that. Okay, well, what's a behavior that you can do? Well, before I go to bed, I'm going to put my running shoes and my workout gear at the side of my bed. So when I get out of bed, I see them there, I put them on, and guess what? I go and do that exercise. That's a behavior. Look at the behavior of laying out your workout gear. Getting up in the morning, behavior is putting your workout gear on, and then the habit you're creating is going and doing your workout. Now, that workout could just be 15, 20 minutes. That's fine. Right, as long as you get a bit of a sweat up, 15, 20 minutes every day is great. Right, it's probably more than you're doing at the moment, but it is great. That will benefit you. Right, and if you create that habit, guess what? The results will come. Now, the result you're looking for could be, I want to lose weight. Okay, how much weight do you want to lose? When do you want to lose it by? What do you need to do to lose that weight? Part of that is exercising, right? Part of it could also be eating healthier. So eating healthier, what's the behavior you've got to do to eat healthier? Well, guess what? You've got to buy good food. You've got to get rid of the junk food. So that's the behavior, right? And then the habit is actually sitting down and eating 3 meals a day, but making them healthy meals. and then put that in line with your exercise, and guess what? You're going to get the results of losing weight. Glenn says, how would you recommend to stay on course and be consistent? That's the review model, the reset model, Glenn. All right, so look at what it is you want to achieve, when you want to achieve it by. So this is looking at this. This is goal setting, right? So set a goal, but be realistic in the goal. And the goal needs to fit the SMART model, so specific, measurable, realistic, attainable, and time bound, right? So you need to know what you want to achieve, when you want to achieve it. It needs to be something that you really want to achieve, because guess what? If you set a goal and it's half-hearted, I guarantee you won't achieve it, because as soon as time gets tough, you'll quit. All right. So for me, it could be, again, let's say I lose weight, right? Do I need to lose weight? Not really. I want to lose some weight. But what happens if one day it's raining, or one day I just feel a bit tired and I want to sit on the couch and just binge watch something and eat some cookies? Right? If that goal doesn't really mean enough to me, I'll sit and I'll binge watch. If that goal does mean enough to me, I truly feel it inside, I truly want to achieve it, then guess what? I will get out and I'll do something. So I'll give you an example with today. I mean, I'd signed up for a half marathon in Yosemite on May the 9th. Now it's got cancelled because of obviously the current situation that we're in. One of the things they offered was, a refund, a refund of 50%, I think it was, or you could carry your registration through to next year's race. Or they're actually doing a virtual half marathon where you could take the virtual half marathon and there was something else. Anyway, now bearing in mind that the half marathon I was planning to do is May the 9th. The virtual half marathon is April the 25th, so a week on Saturday. Now it would have been easy for me to say, well, let me just put it off to next year, but no. I want to do this. I want to push myself, and I've got the time. I need that. I need that motivation of having a deadline for something. So I said, I'm going to take the virtual half marathon. So that was April 25th. Now I decided this a couple of weeks ago. So what that meant then is I had to set a plan, right, to be ready for that half marathon on April the 25th, which was two weeks or so earlier than the original race was going to be. So how do I do that? Well, I've got to actually keep running. So I set myself a goal for running every day, and or not running every day, but doing mileage and achieving this, right? Because I've got that end goal in mind. So here's the thing. I then keep on track with that, And today, I was like, it's a little bit cooler. It's a little bit windier in Florida today. It was hot. It was humid. Actually, it wasn't cool. It was hot and humid, but it was overcast. It looked like it was going to rain. I could have put off that. I've been busy doing things with my business and preparing stuff. But no, I was like, I'm going to run, because I was 5.3 miles away from hitting 50 miles for the month of April, right? And I knew that I wanted to achieve that today. So I pushed through because I've got that end in mind. So I got on there and I got my running gear on and I went out. I actually went the proverbial extra mile because I ran 6.3 miles, right? So I'm up to 51 miles for the month. And guess what? It felt great. It was hard work, but it felt great because I'd achieved something. So here's the other thing when staying on course is make sure you get little wins along the way, right? And measure the tasks that you're doing. All right, so if you think about what is the goal, you break it down into what tasks you need to do each day. So what are the behaviors that you need to do? And then you reward yourself for those. All right, so it could be, I don't know what your goal, but let's say, let's say that you want to do some running, right? And when you do that running, when you completed your run, you allow yourself a cookie, right, or a donut, or a cup of coffee, or whatever it is that you allow as a reward. So that's one of the ways that you can go and you can keep on track. All right. So there's many other ways, and I teach this in a program called a 21-day challenge that I've got that goes through these things every day. All right. But persistence is the key, Glenn, and persistence comes through adversity. It comes when you're stretching yourself. but you've got to want it enough. I hope that answered your question. It probably gave you more information than you wanted, and probably went on a few minutes longer than was needed, but hopefully that answered your question. So again, if you've enjoyed this, I'm going to wrap it up now, because I said I would go less than Jay and I've actually gone more. And Glenn, that's thanks to you for interacting and participating, so I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. They're all great points that you made, and a great question as well. So if you are watching the replay and you've enjoyed this, let us know that you've watched it. Go back the happy birthday to Jay at the beginning of this. Hopefully, Jay, you enjoyed that, and let's get some thumbs up. Feel free to share this video. If there's somebody that you think would benefit from this, share it. Glenn said, perfect. I think that means your answer was good. So Glenn, appreciate it. Share the video with others. There's other things that are coming up that Jay's doing, that I'm doing, that will add value to you. I'm actually doing a 4-week complimentary introduction to developing the leader within you. I'm picking 4 elements of John's book, and we're going through it on 4 consecutive Mondays. It starts a week on Monday. I'll put the link into the chat box if you want to register for that. There's no charge for it. So the only thing it will cost you is an hour a week of your time, right, to spend through that. And then, I'm doing actually an 8-week paid course, but a discounted paid course on adversity to advantage, right, and leading through crisis and leading beyond crisis, that will be starting probably the week after that. Actually, it's 2 per week, right? So it's over 4 weeks. So look out for things that we're doing. Look out for things that Jay's doing. I know Jay's getting ready to do, again, a leading through crisis program with Lady Katrina. So look out for that. Join some things. Develop yourself, stretch your mind, right? Grow during this time, because this is the time to prepare, right? This is the time. This is your time. If you sit on your backside, I promise you, you'll get fatter, you'll get bored, you'll get lazy. And when we come out of this, it'll be more difficult to get going, right? So spend that time wisely now. Exercise this brain muscle, right? As well as exercising your body, and eat healthy. Healthy mind, healthy body is going to set you up for success, set you up for fulfillment in the future. All right, so I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to spending time with you. Glenn, thank you again. Perfect. And everybody else that's watching, again, put the comments in there. Let us know what you think. Bye for now.